Imagine being chosen to save a world and losing your own in the process. Imagine finally finding a place where you belong, only to realize that belonging comes with a price. Imagine becoming a symbol, a leader, a legend, and discovering that legends don't get to rest. This is the curse of Jake Sully. He isn't a conqueror. He isn't a savior by choice. He's a soldier who never stopped fighting, even when the war followed him home. In Avatar, we see breathtaking worlds, powerful creatures, and epic battles. But beneath all of that, Jake Sully's story is about something much darker. What happens when your identity is split between two worlds, and neither one will ever fully let you go? Jake Sully doesn't start as a hero. He starts as a broken man, a former Marine, a body that no longer obeys him, a life that stalled the moment the war ended. Back on Earth, Jake isn't respected. He isn't needed. He isn't even seen. He's alive, but already discarded. So when Pandora appears, it isn't adventure that calls him, it's escape. Jake doesn't earn his second life, he inherits it. An avatar body, a borrowed form, a borrowed chance at meaning. And for the first time in years, he can walk, he can run, he can fight, he can feel powerful again. But there's a problem, that body isn't really his. From the very beginning, Jake's new life is built on substitution, and substitution always comes with identity conflict. Jake is sent to Pandora with a mission: observe, infiltrate, report. At first he lies because he's ordered to, but soon the lie becomes easier than the truth, because the truth would mean choosing sides, and choosing sides would mean losing something. So Jake delays the choice. He blends in, he adapts, and the longer he stays, the harder it becomes to remember who he was supposed to be. Pandora gives Jake something Earth never did: belonging without condition. The Na'vi don't care about his past. They don't care about his broken body. They don't care about his rank. They care about connection. For the first time, Jake isn't defined by what he lost, but by what he can become. And that's dangerous, because once you feel true belonging, everything else feels empty. Jake's greatest sin isn't betrayal, it's hesitation. He knows what's coming long before it happens. He sees the machines, he hears the plans, he understands exactly how this ends. But knowing doesn't make choosing easier, because betrayal isn't just an action, it's a line you can't uncross. Betraying the Na'vi means destroying the first place that ever felt like home. Betraying humanity means erasing the last piece of who he used to be. So Jake delays, and delay becomes damage. Lives are lost not because Jake chose wrong, but because he waited too long to choose at all. Leadership is forged in that moment, but so is guilt, and guilt doesn't fade when the battle ends. Jake never wanted authority. He never dreamed of command. He never asked to be followed. Leadership finds him because he refuses to walk away. The Na'vi don't follow him because he is flawless. They follow him because he stays. But staying means responsibility. Every death carries his name. Every mistake echoes longer than the victory. Jake doesn't become a hero. He becomes accountable. And accountability is heavier than armor. Choosing Pandora closes every other door. Earth is no longer an option. Humanity is no longer home. The past becomes unreachable. Jake gains purpose, but he loses the right to doubt his choice. There is no second life now, no backup identity. Jake Sully, the human, dies quietly, and even chosen deaths leave scars. Jake believes the fight is over. He believes victory buys peace. But Avatar 2 reveals the truth he didn't want to face. Wars don't end, they evolve. The humans return stronger, colder, more relentless. Pandora is no longer a battlefield, it's a target. And Jake realizes something terrifying. Choosing peace doesn't stop conflict when others profit from war. At some point, the war stops being abstract. It stops being about territory, about strategy, about ideology. It becomes about faces. Jake is no longer fighting for a cause. He's fighting for names, for children who sleep while he stays awake, for lives that depend on decisions made in seconds. Every choice now has consequences that last a lifetime, and that changes everything. Jake isn't afraid of death. He's afraid of responsibility, because when you fight only for yourself, failure ends with you, but when you fight for others, failure lives on, and that weight never leaves his shoulders. Jake Sully is no longer seen as a man, he's an image. To the Na'vi, he represents resistance. To the enemy, he represents defiance. To his family, he represents safety, and symbols are never allowed to be weak. They don't get to hesitate. They don't get to doubt out loud. They don't get to collapse when they're exhausted. Jake must be confident even when he's afraid, decisive even when he's unsure, strong even when he's breaking, because when a cymbal cracks, everything around it trembles, and that pressure slowly erases the man underneath. When Jake chooses to run, he doesn't do it to save himself, he does it to save others, but running has a cost. Every place he abandons takes a piece of him with it. Every tribe he leaves behind becomes a memory instead of a home. Safety is temporary, loss is permanent. Jake survives, but survival feels hollow when it's built on constant retreat, because no matter how far he goes, the war follows, and so does the guilt. Jake doesn't talk about the fallen, he carries them. Every life lost under his command becomes a silent companion. Not loud, not dramatic, just present. Leadership doesn't harden Jake, it exhausts him. The victories don't erase the losses, they only make them heavier, because winning means surviving long enough to remember everyone who didn't. Pandora is alive. It is beautiful, sacred, and unforgiving. Jake realizes something terrifying. There will always be another threat, another invasion, another reason to fight. Peace on Pandora is temporary, and guardianship is endless. Jake doesn't protect the world once. He protects it forever, and forever is a long time to stay on guard. Jake looks at his children and sees the future approaching too fast. They are learning to fight before they learn to rest. They inherit the war not because they chose it, but because he did. And that realization breaks something inside him, because every parent wants to give their children peace. Jake can only give them preparation, and that feels like failure, even when it's unavoidable. Jake Sully has become a legend, and legends don't get to step away. They don't age quietly. They don't fade into normal lives. They don't get to say enough. The more he protects Pandora, the less he belongs to himself. The story grows bigger, the man grows smaller, and slowly the legend becomes a cage. Jake Sully will never be ordinary again, not because he doesn't want to be, but because the world won't allow it. Ordinary lives get pauses. Ordinary people get days without consequences. Ordinary families get moments of peace that don't feel borrowed. Jake doesn't. Every action he takes ripples outward. Every mistake becomes history. Every quiet moment feels temporary. Even love is heavier when you're never just a man. He can't disappear into the crowd. He can't fail privately. He can't protect his family without becoming a target himself. Being extraordinary sounds heroic. Living it is exhausting, because Jake Sully didn't just choose a world, he became responsible for it. Responsibility doesn't end when the battle does. It doesn't fade with time. It doesn't sleep. Jake found meaning, but lost peace. He found purpose, but lost simplicity. He found a home, but turned into its first line of defense. Every sunrise is another day he must be ready. Every calm moment is borrowed from future violence, and borrowed time always has interest. Because once you become a protector, you never get to stop. You don't retire. You don't rest. You don't fade away. You stand between the world you love and everything that wants to destroy it. Not once, not temporarily, forever. And that is the final tragedy of Jake Sully. He found everything he was searching for. Belonging, family, meaning, at the cost of ever being free from the fight.